In this video, I'm going to show you when it might make sense to file early, maybe even as early as 62, for your Social Security benefits. And the break-even analysis chart behind me is just a small factor in the overall decision-making process. Coming up next on Holy Schmidt.
Holy Schmidt!
Now let's talk about the Social Security break-even analysis you see on the board behind me. Let me start by saying that this is not a good way to determine when you should file. The fact of the matter is, it used to be the gospel for filing, and it was even on the Social Security website. You would just go on there, plug in a few variables, and you'd have a recommendation. The Social Security Administration has since taken that down because they know that it's not just about maxing out your total income, because there are a lot of issues around your life, your obligations, etc. that come into play that can't be captured on a chart like this. So let's talk about what we have here. We have three different lines. You have a line for the cash flow if you file for Social Security at age 62, one if you file for Social Security at age 67, and one if you file for Social Security at age 70. These numbers come right from the calculator on the Social Security website. And at age 62, if you make $60,000 a year, that's your last income, you'll receive approximately $1,180 per month as a single individual. That's times 192 months. If you assume the average person passes away at 78, which is what this chart does, that's the green line up and down, $1,180 a month will be paid out for 192 months. This comes to a total of $226,560 from the age of retirement to age 78. If you wait until you're 67, changing nothing else but the age, the payment goes up to $789 per month, and the time that you get paid goes down to 132 months. That gives you an outcome of $236,148. And if you waited until after full retirement to age 70, your payment goes up to $2,320 per month for 96 months for a total of $222,770. So what does this mean? Well, line number one is the line for age 62. And at 76 and a half, you actually lose money on this decision. So if you were to live longer than 76 and a half, if you filed at 62, then you are losing approximately $600 per month, every month from that point forward. If you look at the blue line, that's age 67, you're receiving $1,789 per month for 132 months. At age 78, that's a total of $236,148, and you're still coming out financially ahead of filing late until 81 and a half years old. At 81 and a half years old, you would have been better off filing when you were 70 and getting the full $2,320 a month. Again, that's approximately $500, $550 more from age 81 and a half onward. Now, this is really important. The break-even analysis chart is a useful chart to begin the discussion, but it's not a good one to make your final decision because there are so many variables that go into deciding when to file for Social Security. And that is what's coming up next. We're now going to go to the computer and we're going to go through a presentation, and I'm going to talk you through a lot of different points that you need to consider before making that final decision. Okay, here we are at the computer, and I'm going to talk about good reasons to take Social Security benefits before full retirement age. First, let's talk about the percentage of filers that file by age and gender before, at, and after full retirement. What you see from the chart here is that there's a full 2/3 of the filers that file before full retirement age of, here we're assuming 67. That may vary a bit by your personal age, but let's assume somewhere between 66 and 67. 2/3 of the population is filing early. I'll tell you, for the majority of the people that did this, that is the wrong decision. But there are certain times where filing early might make some sense. Now, let's discuss the 3 levers that you need to think about when you make a decision on when to file early. The first is the yellow area. That's the break-even calculation that we discussed earlier. The second is your individual situation. We'll talk a lot about that here in this presentation. And the third is unlocking other benefits that rely on the filer to unlock their own. Quick fact check. Filing early equals smaller checks, but more of them. Americans can expect to live a lifespan of around 78.6 years. Frankly, I think that's a little low, but that's what the tables tell me, so we're going to use that for this discussion. And finally, break-even happens at about 76, plus or minus, if you choose to file as soon as possible versus filing when you are at full retirement age. All right, let's discuss the possible good reasons to take benefits early. First, filing unlocks another family member's benefits. Number 1 equals the spousal benefit. Your spouse can't file on your Social Security, i.e. get 50% of what you have until you file. Next is that the filer does not expect to live to break even. Unfortunately, in this day and age, medical science has gotten pretty good at determining how much time you have left. And if your mortality is in question, it actually might be a good reason to file early. Third is low or no provisional income now versus later. Provisional income is simply tax on your Social Security based on the amount of earned income or other income that falls into the adjusted gross income line that you may receive. If you expect to get higher provisional income later, maybe you have a variable annuity that kicks in, or maybe you expect a business that you own now to take off in the next few years, the tax on that might be a very good reason for you to file now versus later. Next, you'll adopt a higher spousal benefit when your partner files. Again, you get 50% of your spouse's amount in most cases, so if their 50% is higher than your 100%, then it makes perfect sense to file as soon as you possibly can. Next is one we don't really want to think about, but your partner who earns more than you, their life expectancy is short, and you will adopt their higher survivor benefits when your partner passes. If this is the case, and you are reasonably confident that this is going to happen sooner rather than later, it might make sense to file for your benefits as soon as possible because, frankly, you're going to adopt theirs when they do pass. The next one is one that I actually think is probably the best of all. In your younger years of retirement, you have energy, you have youth, and you have great cognitive ability. So it might make sense to have the extra cash early so that you can travel, you can spend time doing the things that you love to do that you might not be able to do later on in life. And finally, the last good reason might be that you just need the money. Life has been difficult, there are bills to pay, you have to support other people. There's a list of hundreds of reasons, I'm sure. But the bottom line is if you just need the money, I think it's perfectly acceptable to consider filing early. A few final points. Social Security is a complicated subject because of all of the variables that come into play when you make a decision on whether you should file early, whether you should file at full retirement, or even file late. So make sure you do a lot of work before you make that decision. And if possible, you should seek the help of a competent professional. Now, the truth is there aren't a lot of experts on Social Security because there isn't a licensing for Social Security like there is for other parts of the financial advice world. So you'll have to rely on a lot of your own research, some good questions. I've listed some down in the description below. And most importantly, doing what's right for you. If you want to learn more on the subject of whether you should file early or file late, check out this video right here. This is Jeff Schmidt. Thanks for watching.